Hello.
Hi.
Oh, you have a real mic and everything.
Yeah. I didn't know if it would work right for this because I'm not really sure how to use this platform yet, but I think it's working okay right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just using the one on my computer.
That's all right. I can hear you perfectly fine, so it's working well.
Awesome.
Well, it's nice to finally be able to talk to you a little.
Yes.
Sorry. My cat was just laying on the table where I have everything, and he messes everything up.
It's all right. My dog is laying right next to me.
Oh,
So she's probably going to do the same thing at some point.
that's okay. So I don't really have a plan for the whole thing. Whenever you need to go, just let me know.
I have everything set up.
Okay.
and I kissed my kids goodnight, and they went that way already. And my husband's going to tuck them in. And
Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, so really whatever you want to talk about. I want to know about like what cases you're working on right now, like what got you into true crime, all those fun little introductory questions.
Well, my great uncle was missing for 9.5 years.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I was asked, because I'm good at looking things up online. My grandma asked me to look for him. That was her youngest brother. And so I started doing this because I was looking for him.
Okay.
And then after I moved back to the U.S., we got a call from a medical examiner's office down in Florida. And he'd been on the shelf there for 9.5 years, since
Oh
just
my goodness.
before I started. Yeah, just before I started looking for him. And they never reported his death anywhere publicly or to Social Security or anything. They never called us.
Yeah,
And
why is that? They didn't have a reason? That's
no.
very odd.
It is not the first time I've heard of something like that happening.
Okay.
But you know, he moved a lot. He was very transient, and he didn't really stay in touch with people. So you know, they just figured he was off doing his own thing.
Mm-hmm.
But his mom, my great grandma, was not doing well, and they wanted to get in touch with him because you know she wanted to see him and everything else.
Yeah.
And and then when she passed away, they wanted to invite him to the funeral. And I found everybody in his family. I found his ex-wives. I found his kids. I found his grandkids. I found everybody except him.
Okay.
And yeah, then we got the call, and he'd been dead the whole time. So that's how I got into it. And then even after he was found, I decided that, I already knew how to do this stuff, so I may as well stick around and see if I
Yeah.
can help anybody else out. So that's basically how I got into it. And yeah, so I've been doing this since the early 2000s now.
Okay. Yeah, that's a long time. But I mean, if you're helping people, that's always motive to do more.
Yeah. And that's really what it's about now, like supporting them, because people are very, like, victims' families and missing people's families are very unsupported. Just by official groups, like I don't want to say that the police are unsupportive. They're as supportive as they can be.
Mm-hmm.
I think because so many people go missing, so I think they're mostly as supportive as they can be. With the caveat that they are way less supportive for literally any minority group.
Yeah, they are.
But there's a big gap in there where people report the missing, and they expect that the police are going to look for them, and when they don't, people don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, uh, one of the other people that follows both of us on Twitter was contacted on TikTok because their cousin had been missing since the early 2000s. They had reported him missing, but he didn't show up in any official databases because when Hurricane Katrina hit, it destroyed all the records down there.
Yeah.
So then we had to go through NamUs and get him re-entered, and now they're submitting DNA and everything else. And but that's the thing, when you report somebody to police, you expect that they're going to do something with it, and then if they don't, people don't always know what to do. So I mean, even if somebody went missing decades ago, if they're still missing, they should really be reported missing.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we can start the new process of like making sure they have DNA and identifiers, and if you have dental records, and even if you don't have like their DNA specifically, they can do the familial DNA testing,
mm-hmm.
and that'll go through NamUs initially. That'll go through NamUs, and that gets also checked against CODIS. So if there's any remains or anything in there with the correct kind of DNA that can be matched against it, then you stand a much bigger chance of them actually being found.
Okay, so you seem to know a lot more about NamUs than I do. I just looked on it today, and it only has cases as like early as 2019. Does it take a while to get a case on there, or?
Oh no, I enter in cases all the time. No, they definitely do. I find that the unidentified people take longer because that's got to be put in by a medical examiner or the police, and that can't be put in by me. So even if I know that there's an unidentified case, I can't enter it in.
Okay.
The only thing I can do is send it to one of the people that works for NamUs.
Okay. See, I didn't know that because I was looking at the like John and Jane Does instead of the missing people, and I only saw cases up to 2019.
Yeah, no, that's it. They've got to be put in. They've got to be put in by the medical examiner's office.
Okay.
And it depends on what your search terms are as well. Like there are definitely people from 2020 that are listed as missing in there from New York City.
Okay.
There's not as many people as are actually unclaimed, but there are a lot of unclaimed people that they're just starting to try and get in from up in New York from the pandemic.
Okay, yeah.
And that's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
And NamUs is actually, from what I understand, NamUs is very involved in that. But just because they're included doesn't mean that they're going to be published. Not all of the cases that are in NamUs are publicly viewable.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, sometimes the police or the medical examiner's office does put the information in there. They only make it viewable for law enforcement.
Okay.
So I won't be able to see it, and you won't be able to see it, but the police in those areas, in theory, can see it. So I think that there's a lot of can't see.
Okay, that would make sense. Yeah.
But I mean, there are a lot of unclaimed people up there right now, and it's going to be rough. It's going to be so rough with all these cases coming in.
Yeah.
And then getting them out of Hart Island is expensive. It's one of the people. There was a person that went missing just south of me. We didn't find out deceased until they found an unidentified body in my town, not far from where this person went missing. So, and right around the same time. So I sent it in, and I was like, "Hey, this is like a mile away, right?" And that's when they double checked, and they found they had found the person, and they were buried at Hart Island. And then, they notified the family. The family, it's been 2 years. The family's still trying to get them brought back to be able to be buried down here in New Jersey because it's expensive. They need to raise the funds to do it.
Do you know why some of the cases are only available to law enforcement? Does it have something to do with, like, when police hold off on some of the case details, or does it have nothing to do with that?
Okay, I don't know specifically, my personal opinion. Some of it is there's some kind of an open criminal investigation about it. And they don't want to put anything out about that. And I think some of it is just territorialism. And some of it is that local police departments distrust the feds and don't want them involved. I mean, those are not going to be the only reasons. Maybe they just don't want to. Maybe they only want to deal with law enforcement and not, with randos on the internet sending them information or reading things into a situation that may not be true and causing problems. But there are definitely places where it seems like they're not as interested in it.
Yeah.
I would personally, I would think that getting help so that they could clear the cases would be better.
You would want, like, the most people able to send in tips as possible.
You would think so, except that then you also get there's some people that send in some crazy stuff. Or harass the victims' families or pretend to be the victims' families. I have a friend whose sister went missing. I found her because I was looking for cases. And her sister went missing in 1982, and she was 2 years old. And she's still looking for her. And somebody contacted her and said, "Hey, I think my parishioner is your long lost sister."
But it wasn't? Or
I told I was talking to the sheriff's department because we thought that we found a Jane Doe that matched her sister, and they had to do a manual DNA comparison because the DNA was really degraded. So it was taking a very long time, but we really, really thought that this Jane Doe that they found was her sister. And I told her, I was like, "Listen, instead of you dealing with this woman," I said, "why don't you speak to the sheriff's office?" Right? Because this is a homicide investigation at this point. They moved it from missing persons to homicide like 2 years ago when we found the Jane Doe. Well, she's been gone since 1982 with no sign, and they found the guy that kidnapped her. And he's still alive. He spent 3 years in jail for kidnapping her, but nothing for murder. So I said, "You know what? Why don't you send this person over to the sheriff's department and have the sheriff's department deal with them and give them a DNA test. If she really thinks it's her, do it." Right? Because why is she contacting you? Right? Like, she saw one of your posts on social media saying, "help find my sister," and then she contacted you. And you don't know who this person is.
Yeah.
You don't know what they want from you. And this woman has nothing. So I don't know why they were even trying. Like, what are you trying to get out of this?
Yeah, I think a lot of people do it just for attention of some sort. And then it turns into a whole thing that they didn't expect it to.
Yeah. but she told me, and I immediately contacted the sheriff's department. I was like, you need to check this person out because I don't know what they're trying here. If it's really her, then you need to confirm that. Right? But if it's not her, also you need to keep the family safe from these people who are like, yeah, I'm definitely that person.
There was, I honestly don't remember the name, but there was a whole documentary on Netflix about a foreign guy who said he was the missing child, and then he came back, and that was a whole thing. And I can't believe people do that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it's happened repeatedly. We saw with the kid last year, the guy last year who was pretending to be, who was that? Oh man, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he said he was this missing kid who had been missing for like, I don't know, like 10 years.
Okay.
And it wasn't him. It was some random guy. And they had the FBI out there and everything else. He said he'd been kidnapped and held in a room by these guys and all this other stuff. And it was all crap. And the family is sitting there getting their hopes up.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you doing? Like, you're needlessly causing these families harm. That's crazy. Yes, Timothy Pitson. That's it.
Okay.
Exactly.
Whenever I hear about those, I think of the Johnny Gosch case. I think that's what it was. Because that was the one where his mother reported that he came home, right? And did like a little chat with her and then said he had to leave, like he couldn't stay. And
they treated mom in that case so bad.
I know. It was just a mess of a case. But
and they still haven't found him.
Like, half of me wants to believe, like, that was him somehow, but, like, the logical part of me knows it was probably just someone trying to get attention that was pretending to be him and hurt his mother.
Yeah, and sending messed up pictures to her. Why would you send that? Why would you send that to the mother of a missing, especially if you are the missing person? Why would you do that to your own mother?
I didn't hear about any pictures. Was he, like... Oh, no, I did not hear about that.
Oh, no, they showed pictures of, they used to, probably because it was the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s when this was going down. They had the pictures of him with another, like, tied up on a bed, mouth gagged, and, like,
See, then...
They sent it to her.
Oh, that's terrible. But then that leads to, like, the Tara Calico, I think.
Calico.
And there was that picture left in the parking lot, and then you don't know if it's true or not. But then you look at the Gosch case again, and you can't really tell.
Yeah, but I mean, also with Tara's case, the police had tips about some guy in the area killing her, and they didn't look into it.
Really?
Yeah, they did. They were like, "Oh, we're sure that's not credible."
How can you be sure if you don't look into it? That's what I always wonder.
Yeah, like, there's some weird stuff that happens in some of these small town police departments, and like, I don't want to rag on them, but some
but
back in I have to say, I think it's gotten better.
Yeah, with time, I think so.
But back in the day, I mean. They would age people out of missing persons reports. So when the person was supposed to turn 18, even if they were never found, if they went missing as a child, the day they turned 18, they remove them.
That seems odd because we have adult missing persons reports that we can still access.
Yeah. But it was also much harder back then to get an adult missing persons report filed at all. There had to be something else going on if they would sit there and take a report.
Okay. I just did I just looked over the Matrice Richardson case, and in that one, I know her mom was calling about scheduling or not scheduling, reporting a missing persons. And he said, well, you should wait 24 hours. But through that, I kind of found out there's not many laws or like anything that says you have to wait that long.
Yeah. It used to be a policy. Some places had 24, some places had up to 72 hours. And it didn't matter if it was a child. Some places I've seen the old like the old newspaper clippings and stuff where they're like, usually we say you have to wait 48 hours before you report someone missing, but this is a 5-year-old.
Yeah. Like they didn't just leave on their own and they're fine.
And so, but because they were a child, they were like, okay, well, we're going to waive that policy and go and look for him. But like, if you're waiting 72 hours to report a 5-year-old missing, like what?
Yeah, that's not okay. I understand an adult that's over 18, like they could have just left, but if there's other factors going into it, like they might have been drunk or they were on drugs or something, the police should still act right away.
Yeah. I mean, if the family is reporting the missing, right, and if they're found easily, hey, that's great. Then you don't have to do anything else. And if they just don't want to talk to their family, because if you are an adult and you go missing and you don't want to talk to your family, you meet with the police and you tell the police, look, I don't want to talk with them. And they won't tell your family where you are. They'll just say, we found them, they're alive, and they're fine. And you
leave them alone,
they're not missing. They left. So, Zinni, you have to go. Okay. Go to bed. Sorry, my daughter is like... But yeah, there's a lot of cases like that where... I don't know what's happening down my hallway. Where they did very weird things back in the day, and it is getting better, but, you find out that they found someone's remains. It's a Jane Doe. And then after 2 years, they sent all of the evidence and all of the information and the skeleton into the Tacoma landfill.
Really?
Really. And this is in the middle of when Ted Bundy was active in the area and the Green River Killer was active. You had serial killers up there and you knew it.
Like, no matter what the situation, you shouldn't get rid of a Jane Doe's skeleton or DNA or any of that. And
in a landfill.
Yeah, because you can't find anything there. And nothing. It's respectful.
It's complete. That case, that when I found that, I was like, are you kidding me? Why would you do that?
Is that one still like unsolved?
It's still open.
I'm going to have to get those links from you.
I will absolutely, I can pull it up right now.
Yeah, because that's crazy. I've never heard of that.
Talking. Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. That one absolutely drove me crazy. What is this?
Have you ever heard of the Brandon Lawson case?
I have heard of the Brandon Lawson case.
That one is another like small town, I don't want to say murder because he's missing, so they don't know where he is. But his 911 calls kind of give the idea that he was being chased by some of the sheriffs or the police department. But they've like never really looked into it, and it was in Texas, so I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to be solved, but that's another one where small town things just don't get any media or don't get solved in general.
Yeah. I feel terrible for the families of people who have been missing that long and are so unsupported. Especially like we're seeing a lot of what I'm seeing anyway in the older case, a lot of older Black people and Native Americans finally being
but
entered.
The police didn't care about that like in the first place, so they didn't get entered, and that's a huge injustice.
And yeah, and there was nothing about it. And the same goes with gay people and trans people and lesbians and any kind of immigrant, any kind of, you know, the only time they were really interested is if you were well off, because even poor white people they didn't care about, but you had to be like middle class and white and a girl. And, you know, you look at Serenity Denard out in South Dakota, and she was a foster child. She had issues in her life, and there was barely any media on it. 9-year-old missing, and everything else fits for her to get a lot of attention. And she just didn't. She just didn't, because she had problems. And if you have any problems, people unfortunately a lot of the time will look at it and go, well, this person had problems, so they probably left on their own. It's probably, you know, or they don't care if they went missing. They think that they have no value.
That's exactly how everyone who's missing and has a mental health problem, they're kind of just like, oh no, they probably just went off on their own. They're fine. But the statistic is the same. Like, you could have gotten kidnapped, you could have gotten killed, and it should have been just all.
Well, and the same kind of thing is exactly what lets serial killers flourish in minority communities. They might not even be part of that community. They might be part of that community, but they might not. But because of the people that they prey on, that are given a lower value by the greater society and by police, right? Because of that, they don't look for them, and they'll sit there and they'll say, you know, oh no, there's not a serial killer here. The case that I'm looking at, it's really heavy, so I'm trying to like take it in chunks. In the early 2000s, there was a serial killer duo down in Florida, and they were killing gay men. And they were also kidnapping and torturing and raping gay men. And the trial, it was set to start this week, but it got pushed off because of COVID. They found one of the guys. They found hold on, I have his name up. They found Michael Wackholtz. They found him. They didn't find Jason Galehouse. Those are the only two cases that they're being tried for. But if you go back and you read the newspapers, even at the time, the families in the local communities were like, hey, wait, there's a bunch of other gay men missing here. Maybe, you know, what's going on? And the police were like, it's nothing. These two cases they're not related. And these other cases are not related. And they were
obviously they're related.
They were related. And one of the other people that was missing, Mark, what was his last name? Mark, either Mark Thompson or Mark Jackson, who were both missing from that area, from Florida, and were gay from that time period. One of those two, if you read the transcripts of their AIM messages, which are helpfully online, there's somebody on there who they think is Mark. And the police still say there's no correlation. The guy who's going on trial now, Stephen Lorenzo, he lived across the street from an apartment building where 3 of the guys went missing from at different times. And they still have not been found. There's like 7 missing people associated with this guy. And there were, when his accomplice went back to Chicago, all of a sudden gay men were showing up stabbed in their houses. And the police there were like, yeah, we're sure that's not connected either. But as soon as you lock these 2 guys up, those crimes stop.
Yeah, so they're obviously from these people.
You know, yeah, like I talked to the guy who headed up Equality Florida and helped pull together the surviving victims down there. And he said that the community and the families are sure that they're all connected. He goes, how likely is it that as soon as you put these guys in jail that we stop getting murdered?
Yeah.
So it's very frustrating because they downplay it, and then it turns out like if they had come forward and actually cared about any of these people being missing or being tortured and raped, all right, or any of this stuff, they could have prevented so many other deaths and so much suffering, but they didn't care.
No, I looked into the doodler who, I think he was San Francisco. But he would kill gay men also. He would get them from gay clubs and like doodle their picture.
Yes. I a couple years ago, I went ahead and I was digging into that. And I can understand why people did not want to come forward at that point in time.
But I don't know. I feel I haven't been in that situation, so I can't say anything to the victims. But there were the victims who survived, and others were still getting killed, and it just seems like something.
Yeah, but I totally get that, and I understand, and I really wish that they would have spoken to somebody. But also, if they were speaking to somebody, they were outing themselves at a time when being gay could have literally destroyed their entire
and they
life.
Didn't want to do that.
They would have lost
and I get
job.
that.
You know, they would have lost everything. Some of them were married to women. They would have lost their entire families, their wives, their kids, their jobs. I mean, it would have completely destroyed them. Because it was so socially unacceptable to be any kind of queer. And I understand why there was a lot of animosity there too between the police and gay people. You also had another serial killer of gay men in that area at that time, who they also didn't catch for 10 years. And a bunch of his victims are still unidentified. They preyed on people that they knew nobody was going to look for.
Yeah, the outcasts in some way or another.
Yeah, and because they did that, that's where we're finding serial killers that have body counts in the 90s.
That amazed me so much. The Samuel Little case, I didn't know someone was able to kill that many people, like without being caught. I can't.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at it, he had been caught doing other stuff a bunch of times, and he'd been caught for rape before, and he'd been caught and was tried for murder before, and they
just let him go, and then the streak continues.
And he specifically said that he went after people that nobody was going to report missing. Nobody was going to care about.
Because they were prostitutes or women like that who just didn't have a family around.
Exactly. And he's not. Even if he does have information on who they actually are at this point, which, is iffy, he might remember their faces, but I don't know that he remembers their names. He might.
Yeah, I don't.
But I don't know that I would put too much stock in that. I haven't seen any confessions where the names have been accurate.
No, because you don't even know if they got the names when they were in that situation. Or if, like, they did get the names and the women gave them a different name that wasn't their original name. Yeah. So it's just overall confusing.
Yeah, but, I mean, when they started getting matched confessions, oh, my goodness. I was like, I can't even believe that. Like, 94, 95 people.
I don't know how that passed, like, so easily. It seems like social media was on Samuel Little for like a while, but then it kind of just drifted away when
I think it's partially because there's they're just slowly getting confirmation of the cases. I think that's what's doing it, to be honest. I think it's because the cases are dripping in and people are coming forward, and they absolutely should. You know, they're coming forward now, and they're like, hey, wait, you know, my sister went missing here, and he was here, and she kind of looks like this drawing.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you know, and for some people, that's like the only hope that we have is that somebody who remembers them can go ahead and report them missing now so they can be checked. I mean, that's really the best bet. But, you know, there are some like Marianne, who was transgender down in Miami, Florida in the early 70s. There's a good chance that that Marianne was estranged from her family.
Yeah, so they would never know she was missing.
No, they probably just figured that she was dead in the AIDS crisis or from whatever, or they didn't care. Because, you know, families would completely abandon you back then. Like, completely abandon you. Not all of them, but, you know, a not insignificant number would just, that's it. You're dead to me.
Yeah, it was not accepted, like, at all back then.
No. And so, you know, a trans person of color going missing back then, the chances of them having any family member that's going to turn around and report them is very small. And it's unfortunate, and they never found her body. And he said they're never going to find her body.
Wasn't he giving away like body sites?
Oh yeah, and he said that he said where he put her, but he could be lying.
Okay, so have they looked into it, or like, do you not know?
Oh, I'm sure. Okay. I'm sure, but the area that he said, because I was looking at old news reports trying to find her, or report of body being found, because he said that they never found her body, but I didn't believe that. I think they might have found her body. And the area that he said, like, there were a lot of bodies found out there back then, like a lot of bodies, and some of them were identified, and some of them, as far as I can tell, were not, or if they were, they didn't say that they'd been identified. Okay. But just in the like couple years surrounding when Marianne was supposedly killed down there, I think I counted like 10 or 15 bodies in that area.
Wow. Yeah.
You know, and you don't know if she got washed out to sea. You don't know if that's actually where he put her.
And that's the sad thing.
You know. Yeah. I mean, unless they find her or part of her, the chances of her being identified are extremely small.
Yeah.
Which is really unfortunate. It's you know, you get thrown away more than once then.
And that's a fear of a lot of people too. Like, just passing away and then no one ever identifies their body, and they never get the burial, or they never get recognized. And I get really sad investigating like John and Jane Doe cases. Like, I can handle any gruesome stuff, but when I get to those cases, it's just emotionally draining because they don't have anyone who recognizes them or who wants to bury them.
Yeah. And I mean, even the ones where they really want to, they haven't had any luck identifying them. Even if somebody, you know, because they haven't had the tools up until recently that, you know, had a good chance. So yeah, I mean, I just read something about the Katrina victims down there, and there are some that are still unidentified, and there are some that are still missing. And they think that there are more missing from that time period, but they don't know because none of the families have come forward.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible that the families just assumed that they had died and that they weren't going to find them. Maybe they thought that they got, you know, brought out to sea.
Yeah. Also, do the families, in order to identify them, do they have to be able to access, like, either social media or NamUs or one of those kind of websites? Because a lot of people might not access those, so then they have no choice of identifying someone.
No, I mean, if they were looking,
Okay.
if you were looking for Katrina, if you were looking for your family member as a possible Katrina victim specifically, you could go to the Faces Lab in Louisiana. They do great work, by the way, and they don't just have things for Louisiana, and they do recons that, I mean, they look like photographs.
Okay.
They're stunning. They do such good work, and they would have to go to that, or they could go to their local police department and say, hey, you know, my family member was missing. You would do just like a regular police report. But if you don't know where you're supposed to report this, you know, and sometimes the police won't take a report if you don't either come down there, or if you don't if you don't know the exact time they went missing or anything. I have a case. Hold on. I have papers. I print stuff out.
No, me too. I write everything out.
I do that too, but printing this stuff, especially if I'm entering the case in NamUs, I print it out so that I have a record and I can take notes on it. So this guy here is Jose, right?
Okay.
And his family has been trying to find him since March 24th. That's the last time anybody had any contact with him. Of this year? His family.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. His family lives in California. And they were having a real problem because his family, the police wanted his family to come out to New York to file a police report.
Okay.
In the middle of a pandemic. In the middle of a hot spot of the pandemic. And you're going to get an airplane and fly to New York?
No. They should be able to do it over the phone as long as they like verify somehow. Or even if they don't, why would you call in like a fake missing persons report?
Yeah, and I mean, one of the blue check marks on Twitter is his cousin. And his other cousins are posting all over social media trying to find him. And there's just nothing. I've been keeping an eye on the unidentifieds, and I've been keeping an eye on the unclaimed persons, and he's not showing up there. They said, you know, maybe he tried to go to Florida. You know, I entered him into NamUs, and I'm still waiting. It went on restricted. So they were working with a detective. And the detective said that they were going to try really hard to get a missing persons case filed for him. So I don't know if the police have managed to do that yet. I do know that the NamUs case on him is still in restricted status, so they know it's there. And I sent a copy of the news reports to say, hey, listen, this is what's going on with this case. Like, I'm not just a crazy person.
You actually have backup for the case.
I try and do sources as much as possible, because otherwise they dismiss you. And that's not because of anything else. It's just because for them, they need to have some kind of proof. And my word, as somebody who does not know this person, is not proof.
Yeah, and I get that. Like, they want proof to be able to prioritize the cases that need prioritization.
And sometimes, you know, there's a big learning curve for dealing with these agencies. And, you know, the families don't necessarily want to deal with the police. But even if they do, dealing with the police can be intensely frustrating.
Well, I get that.
And I mean, I get it too, right? So, you know, I already know how to enter in the case into NamUs. I already know how to talk because I communicate with them a bit. Not that they can give me any information, but, you know, they can tell me, yes, it's been entered. Yes, we're looking at it, which is about the most you're going to get most of the time. And that's fine. I don't need to be privy to what's going on with it, but just, you know, let me know that he hasn't been found already. Right. or that he is, you're aware of his case. You know, the family wants to know that, like, you're aware that he is a missing person, to keep an eye out for him, like, if he shows up somewhere. And yeah, I mean, they wanted him to fly to California, or to New York from California,
in the middle of this whole thing that's going on.
In the middle of this, into New York City.
Yeah, that's not professional or safe at all.
No, and like, I understand they don't know he was private. He probably had some other stuff going on he didn't want his family knowing about.
Yeah.
Right? And they didn't have his last address. The way they kept in touch with him was over Facebook, and now he's not posting anymore.
Okay.
And they haven't been able to get him on his phone, and they haven't been able to get him on social media at all, and nobody who knows him has seen him. None of his friends that are around there have seen him, and he was in constant contact with them. So something happened.
Yeah, obviously.
You know, people usually, I mean, you know, yeah, people do go off the grid, but if you're the kind of person that talks to people constantly like that, it's not as usual for you to just, like, stop communicating.
Pretty unlikely. Like, I can go a few days without texting anyone. So if people don't hear from me for a few days, they're like, oh, okay, that's fine. But someone who talks to, like, their family or friends every day, I think it's crazy that police are like, he probably just didn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, you know, but they say something like 650,000 people go missing in the U.S. every year, and
a ton of them are unidentified or never found.
Yeah, I mean, they say that most of them are found within the first, like, month or two. Usually, I find most of them come back within 2 weeks.
Okay, the ones who, like, physically are like, yeah, I'll leave for a while. Okay.
Yeah. I find that usually after the 2 week mark, that's when I start going, all right, after 2 weeks, then we really need to be checking other things, because staying away for that long is not great.
Like, I grew up in the era, I guess, I don't know, where 48 hours was a big thing. So then it was like after 48 hours, like, the cases are, like, dire. You need to find these people. And I don't know if it's still like that, but I feel like it should be. Cops should at least go intensely for the first 2 days to try and find these missing people.
Yeah, I mean, some of the cases, if they look,
they would find them.
Would find them. You know, sometimes they're in jail. I had a friend of my cousin called me because her dad went missing over the weekend. They reported him missing. And so anytime anybody goes missing, all of a sudden my phone blows up. Or if they find an unidentified person in the area, my phone blows up. Because people are like, okay, what do we do?
Yeah, a lot of, like, normal people, I guess, I don't know if normal is the right word, but you know what I mean. They don't know, like, how to go about researching this or looking for people that they're missing even.
Yes. Well, yeah, but why would you need to know that?
That's not a normal, like, piece of knowledge.
No, only weirdos.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But, so they called me, and, all right, here's what you need to do. You need to call the police. You need to do this. You need to do that. And they found him. He was just over the state line. He'd been arrested over the weekend. He'd been in jail all weekend. They hadn't let him call home.
Okay.
Right? But if the police had called the neighboring, like, it was like the next town over, but it was over state lines. Yeah. So if you called the police in the area and been like, hey, have you seen this guy? Like, the family would have been having heart attacks for 3 days. You know? Sitting there wondering what happened. Where is he? Like, do we need to go and get in the car and drive around and look in canals for him?
I just finished reading the book I'll Be Gone in the Dark. about the Golden State
Yes.
Killer. And I know throughout that book,
Yeah.
Michelle talked a lot about how different police places didn't want to share information with the other ones. And I'm really surprised that's still a thing like today, because I don't know.
I chalk it up to small towns happening, because in this case, we're talking about like rural South, right? And the rural South, I think, operates a bit different. A lot of them are getting better about it. Like, I see them post all the time on social media now. I'll see these small town things where I guess all of the social media interest from the family pushes them into posting about it. So I think it's getting a little bit better. I still don't think that they're necessarily actively looking for people right after they go missing unless there's a reason.
Yeah.
So if it's a kid, or if it's somebody who's disabled, or if there's some sign of foul play, they'll look into that a bit. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, still, again, if you're not a middle class white lady, they're probably not going to look too hard into what's going on.
Honestly, they don't seem to care if it's not.
Well, I mean, there's going to be a huge amount of pressure on them because of the support that somebody who was missing that is a middle class white lady, she will already have a lot of support. But then, other people go missing, and there's just, it's not even a blip.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating. Like, or if you look at the Millibrook twins, I don't know if you know anything about their case.
The name sounds familiar, but I would need like a little background to know exactly which case.
All right. Okay, so down in the South, two sisters go missing. Teenage sisters, young teenagers, but they're black. Okay. They go missing, and that's about it.
Okay.
There was not much done with it, even though the family was pushing and everything. About 18 months after they went missing, they had been entered into the NCMEC system. Somebody went in and they took them out. Somebody from the police department went in and took them out as a missing person.
Okay.
Even though they're still missing.
They have never been found, or the bodies haven't been found.
They have never been found. No, and Oxygen did a whole thing on it. I think the Fall Line did a whole thing on it too. They're still missing, but there was just, every time the family went to try and get information or give in tips or push them to do anything, they were like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Yeah,
that's crazy to me. But
and how do you have like two kids go missing together at the same, like, they go missing and there's no media on it?
Yeah, that should be an insane amount of media.
In the early 2000s, no media? Are you kidding? And if they hadn't been, poor and black and women, then maybe they would have, like, if two middle-class white girls went missing, that would be all you hear forever. That would be it. Like, we would be talking about that case forever, but because they're, I try and focus on cases that don't get a lot of media attention for exactly that reason. The cases that get a lot of get a lot of attention, I figure people are already looking at that, and you'll probably get more likes or more views or whatever it is that you're going for if you do the bigger cases, as far as I can see. But if you're trying to support the cases and actually help with the cases, I think that getting the lesser known ones out there really helps. Like, I don't know if you know about the Allentown 4 case.
I don't think I have heard of that one.
The Bear Brook murders?
I don't think so.
Okay, a woman and 3 kids found dead in barrels, and they just identified them late last year.
Okay.
And they found the killer up in New Hampshire. They found the killer before they found who any of the people were, any of the girls.
Okay.
I don't know how you have a case of one woman and 3 children that are probably her children, right? Killed and stuffed into barrels, and it doesn't even make a blip for years and years and years.
Yeah, that's crazy. I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we just had a case, I think I shared it on Twitter, where there was like a live stream, and it was the news sharing about a woman and 4 children who got killed by the boyfriend or something along those lines. And I still haven't seen like news things on it. And that is really weird to me, I guess.
The only news things I saw about it were people yelling at the family members for being outside and not social distancing.
I saw that too. Like the lady was laying on the ground and they were crying, and people were like talking on the live stream saying, you shouldn't be outside, you shouldn't be with all these people. I was like, do you not know what just happened? Like 5 people were just killed.
Yeah, I completely understand you got a social distance, whatever. You're really going to come in here and blame people?
Mm-hmm.
You're really going to come in here and blame these people when, do you know, this horrific thing just happened to them and you're in here scolding them?
They just lost like 5 people from their family. That's insane. And they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. People shouldn't be criticized.
What do you think's going to happen? No. That people treat the families of the missing so bad. Sometimes you go on Twitter and you look at the cases and of people posting like, hey, my son is missing, my daughter's missing, my sister's missing. And you have a bunch of people that come into the comments and they're like, yeah, they're dead.
Yeah. Like, I understand the factual like part of it. Like, after a certain amount of time, they are most likely deceased. But you shouldn't say that to the family. You should still hope that they are alive and that people are going to find them.
Yeah, like say that like privately or to your friends, but don't come onto their post when
the family's still hoping for something good to come out of this case.
Yeah, I mean, especially because a lot of these cases, the person's been missing for 2 days.
That's not
and you're
the right time.
Oh, they're dead. What? Oh, no. No. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, I don't understand.
Me neither.
And, but the Bear Brook case, they had a whole podcast about it, and I think they did a 60 Minutes or a Dateline about it. But this is just within the past couple of months, and they started getting more attention a couple of years ago. But I mean, even as far back as like 2012, 2013, there was nothing on it. There was one woman up in Maine who was literally going through the old phone book and tracking down everybody that lived in that area to find out what happened to them so she could trace them and see, if they knew who was involved. She was like, okay, who's missing from this area? The trailer park's right there. Maybe she lived in the trailer park. Let's trace all of the people. And she did that. She tracked them all down. She talked to all of them except for a couple that she doesn't know what happened to them. And yeah, the guy was a serial killer.
Okay. When did that case happen?
The guy was a serial killer. Yeah, of moms and kids.
Okay.
right? And Billy Jensen was he did a Crime Watch Daily, a couple of Crime Watch Daily episodes on it. That case right there is what got him into true crime.
Okay.
Because there was no media
Yeah.
on it. No one was looking. And the guy Terry Rasmussen, he killed his, I'm guessing we guess it's common law wife.
Okay.
He killed her. He killed his own daughter, who is still unidentified. He killed his common law wife Marlise's 2 daughters, and then he took off with Denise Bowden and her daughter Dawn, and they found Dawn alive in California, and he'd been molesting her and everything else. They never found Denise. Denise is still missing.
Okay.
They found his wife in his common law wife again in the early 2000s. They found his common law wife murdered in his house under 50 pounds of cat litter, partially dismembered. They are sure that he's got other victims.
Yeah.
Again, he chose. Whoa.
Sorry.
It's all right. He chose divorced moms, unwed moms, again, people that, were estranged from their family. And if they weren't estranged, he caused problems and made them become estranged. He would go to family parties with them and pick fights, and then they'd take off, and they'd never come home. You never see him again.
Yeah, that's...
So, they said, we're probably never going to figure out how many victims this guy has. And that's just, Doe cases are rough.
Yeah.
Doe cases are rough. But I still think there's a lot of value in looking for them and trying to identify them. Even if the family doesn't care, because sometimes they find somebody, it doesn't happen often, but it does happen where the family's like, yeah, we thought they were dead.
Yeah, and they don't really...
No loss. And it sucks, but you can still be like, okay, well, at least they have their name back and they can be buried.
Yeah.
And I think everybody does.
Yeah, they definitely do.
I think everybody deserves to be buried with their name at the very least. And that's not even like, you don't even have to be a good person or whatever else, but
yeah, but you're deceased now. You should at least have that little bit of closure.
You should have your name. Come on now, right? Like that's not cool for anybody to be buried and you don't know who they are. So,
have you heard of I'm assuming you have, because it's like a big thing right now, but the guy that was found in Collier County in Florida,
no.
So he was found on July 23rd of 2018 in Collier County, Florida, and he was a hiker.
Oh, Bill.
Yeah, that guy.
The Mostly Harmless.
Yeah, that guy.
Yes, that one is very interesting.
Yeah, that one was. I found it actually. My boyfriend's parents live down in Naples, Florida, which is in Collier County. And while we were down there, it popped up on my Facebook timeline, and I was very interested by it. But it's amazing to me that he can, we have physical pictures of him, a lot of them, and he's still not identified. And I know a lot of Jane and John Does are unidentified, but with pictures, but it just seems odd to me.
Well, from what I understood, he said that he was estranged from his family and only had a sister that he stayed in contact with at all.
Okay.
And I mean, maybe it wasn't unusual for him to go missing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if if nobody comes forward with having known him, it doesn't look like he was ever reported missing.
Yeah, that's true.
So people probably knew that he left, but didn't realize that he was supposed to come back. And, maybe he said he was moving and then just didn't come back. I think that's one of those ones that they're going to have to try and do the forensic genealogy on. I think that's probably going to be the best bet. But I mean, if he said his family was that small to begin with and he was estranged from them, you don't know what the family dynamics there were. Uh-oh, I think you froze.
That was a free Zoom meeting.
Yeah, froze.
That was a free Zoom meeting.
No.
And it's possible.
Oh no, she left. Oh no.
The time may just have run out.
Okay. Uh-oh, I think we're over then. I don't know what happened.
As I said, if it's a free Zoom meeting that you had.
No, it's not a free Zoom meeting. And I'm still being recorded, so thanks. It's all me now. That's scary. So you do Canadian cases? Oh, that's cool. Those are a little bit rough to investigate. They don't have as much information on the national database that I've seen. Frosted. Okay, hold on. I am pulling that up. Frost Canadian. Ooh, let's see. Ooh, okay. I am going to go to that. That is very cool. I'm saving that. That is very cool. Ooh, you did one on Babes in the Wood? That case is so rough.
Am I back now? Hi, I'm sorry. My computer completely died for some reason, and I didn't notice.
Yeah, I was like, all of a sudden you froze, and I was like, oh no.
My thing just completely shut off.
I'm going to have to check out your podcast, Ian. That looks really cool. I was looking.
Oh, hi.
I was looking at the thing. I was looking at the Babes in the Wood case a while ago.
Yeah, it's our longest podcast, and it's our newest. It was just dropped on the 15th of April.
Okay. I'm going to have to look at that. That looks really good. Oh, and you got pictures and I haven't seen those pictures. Ooh, that'll be interesting. Whoa. Okay.
All right. When I left, you were saying something about the guy in Florida just not having people who reported him missing because he said he was going to be gone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that he was estranged from his family, and he said he was moving or doing something, that he was going to be gone for a while, and the fact that they haven't heard from him is probably not weird. So I don't think he's going to get reported missing. I don't, unless his family, maybe an extended family member sees a picture and goes, hey, that kind of looks like cousin so-and-so. But that might... Why are you still awake? Go to bed. Go to bed. Go. She whispers, I am. Go to bed. She she has a rough time going to bed every night, and it's not any better now that we don't leave the house. But no, I think that doing the genetic genealogy might be very helpful.
Yeah,
with
that
his.
could be.
I think so. But I mean, that's something the police are going to have to decide on. I don't know. Maybe they're hoping that it hasn't been that long.
No, it really hasn't. In comparison to other missing persons cases, or Jane Doe or John Doe, yeah.
Oh yeah, Collier County's got a lot of them that are much older and will probably be more difficult to figure out. I think that they should post those notebooks. I think that they should scan and post the notebooks online, and you're going to have a bunch of people who are really into that case, who are going to sit there and pour over and pull out every
and then they're
detail.
going to find out who he is eventually.
Yeah, I mean, I would crowdsource it, but that's me. I think crowdsourcing can work really well.
Yeah, they might just want to wait a while in order to do that, since it hasn't been that long.
I mean, but they don't think that there's any foul play involved. Right? Like, I think that in cases where there's not really even a suggestion of foul play, that they really think, like, it was a natural death. I think that they should do that. And the only reason I could think of maybe not wanting to do that would be having somebody get an inkling of who it is and contacting the family instead of contacting the police, which has happened. In fact, it happened in the Bear Brook case. Yeah, a web sleuther found somebody from the family and called them and left a message on their voicemail that said, "Hi, I'm researching a serial killer, and we think that your family member was murdered by them along with these children."
Yeah, that's not the right move. You should totally go to, like, law enforcement first. But I think if law enforcement is, like, not accepting an idea, you should look into it more, at least.
I agree with that, but I also think there's a way to contact the families that doesn't involve looking at them or calling them and, "Hi, I think your family member was brutally murdered by a serial killer along with her children. Call me back." No. What? No, don't do that. Why would you? It was so horrible when it happened. And, like, I would not have been surprised if the family had refused to talk to anybody after that. I'm happy that they decided to speak to the police and the people that they were talking to originally. But, oh, man. Like, it that hurts my heart, because this is their family. And I think that maybe that kind of a situation could be a good reason to not want to put some things out there. But, I mean, if you're actively looking for a case where there's not any foul play involved, there's not any sign of foul play, I really think that perhaps you should put all of the information possible out there. Right? Because I think that then you have more of a chance of getting this person back. And really, when it comes down to it, I think anybody that's doing cases or doing podcasts for cases of missing people or of unidentified people or of unclaimed people, I think that anybody that's doing that, the goal is to get these people back to their family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't think that that's a goal that's at odds with what the police are trying to do. And I don't think that necessarily needs to be an antagonistic situation there between the police. unless people are in the public are not behaving themselves, basically. You know, like, you don't want to be the story yourself.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, you don't want to be the story. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're following the Gannon Stauch case or the Lori
I'm
Vallow
following
case.
both of those pretty closely. I know I learned about the whole court report thing of the Gannon Stauch case from you. Yeah.
Yeah, and I got it from somebody who's been following it pretty closely on YouTube. Denise Rainey is doing both of those cases. She does the Vallow case. She's been on the Vallow case since the very beginning when nobody was really paying attention to it.
That one is so confusing to me. Like, it's just hard to follow overall. I tried to do an episode on it, and I couldn't get things, like, in the right order, it seems.
It's crazy. And it's not getting less crazy. As time goes on, just more information comes out. It just gets more crazy. The only reason I noticed it was because you had two kids that had been missing for several months and nobody had reported them missing, and that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign.
Just related to the Evelyn Boswell case and the Casey Anthony case.
Yeah.
Like, you don't report your child missing for that long? That doesn't make any sense.
No, that's bad things happen. Bad things happen when you don't report your kids missing in a normal amount of time. I want to say I don't think I've ever seen a case where people have waited to report their kids missing and it's turned out really positive. I don't think I've ever seen a case where there's been a good outcome from that. But I hear kids are missing, and then I'm like, all right, so I'm going to go start looking and see if they found remains anywhere of these kids. That's why I found it. And then all of a sudden, all this other stuff is coming out, and I'm like, lots of dead husbands happening here.
And the dead wife, and now she thinks her kids were zombies at some point. I can't, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That one is a mess. It's a mess. So, yeah, those two cases, the moms are acting like lunatics.
Absolutely.
And, whoa, what did I do? I did the wrong thing, apparently. Oh, the screen just went blank. Okay, I know it is.
No, you're okay.
I never thought Gannon was going to be found in Florida. I'll say that.
No, me neither. I thought, I was hoping he would be found alive, but I thought it would be in Colorado. I never connected Florida to the case at all.
No. Initially, I was hoping he would come home. But then Letitia started acting cray-cray. And I every day after that, I was like, this is not going to end well.
Did you hear the recording from when she said she recorded it and accidentally posted it to Facebook? Yeah, accidentally. That's what kind of made me switch gears in that case. I kind of thought, oh, so she might be abusing the child. And then,
oh, I'm certain.
Well, yeah, now absolutely, but
I saw somebody said that she had abused her daughter, her older daughter, and hit her with a belt until she bled.
That's another thing. All the TV interviews or anything with the older daughter, there was that one famous one where she's like, well, what do you want me to say? And she was talking to the mom.
Yeah, we're coaching her. She's coaching her.
That's just odd.
Yeah. That seems legit. It's not at all sketchy. But sometimes these cases that you see, they start out small, but they're weird.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
it just explodes.
Yeah. And I mean, they found Gannon, and Letitia's boned.
But
She's already saying that she was already trying to say that she was set up 3 days after he went missing. Set up for what?
She
Letitia?
absolutely did.
Set up
Yeah.
for what?
Because the whole
for him going missing?
time she was like, I can't wait for him to be found because then people will find out that I'm innocent. And that struck everyone like in the wrong way. Why would you be concerned for yourself when your stepson is missing?
Yeah, and she was in the true crime group.
And she still did.
She was in there.
Bad. I mean, not to condone anything, but like she was so deep in the true crime things, and she still, I don't know. She just did not take anything from that, I guess.
I don't think that Letitia's a particularly smart person. And that's just, I'm being nice about it. I don't think she's a very smart person. If you are involved in something like this and you're trying to make it seem like you're innocent, what you don't do is go and argue with people on the internet about how you're so innocent.
No, that's like the number one thing not to do. Even if you
are, right? Nobody was thinking that she had anything to do with it because kids run away all the time. Nobody thought that she had anything to do with it until she opened her stupid mouth. And she was acting weird, and she wasn't going out and helping with the searches. And she acted completely guilty. And then she's like,
"Oh, you can keep going."
No, sorry. Somebody on Discord apparently tagged me, so I'm gonna have
That's
to
okay.
look in a minute. But why are you acting so weird? Like, you're not even acting like a normal person would act in this situation, and you would think, especially, like, if you're trying to pretend that you're innocent. Like, I'm not trying to tell people how to get away with a crime, but if you can't act like you're acting really guilty.
Yeah, and that's just the whole thing. Like, if she was in true crime groups, how did she not, like, figure out how people act innocent versus guilty?
Yeah.
Like, I'm glad she didn't, because she's getting tried for this whole thing now, but
I'm glad she got caught. Oh my god, I'm so glad she got caught, and I hope she never breathes another free breath again in her entire life.
I don't think she will, but I hope she doesn't either.
I don't think. Listen, I think she's gonna get convicted of everything,
even maybe
some more
stuff.
stuff.
Hopefully. Even like Gannon's dad, I feel like he knew something was up from the beginning, because he filed for divorce so quickly that everyone was speculating, like, he has to know something in this case. Like, he suspects.
Well, he was. I think you're right. I think he knew, because she was acting weird.
And her stories weren't the same, and she couldn't get anything together.
Yeah, I mean, and like she showed up in a different car at the airport to pick him up,
because she didn't
with some weird story. Just like, and then she was upset because the mom of the son is there. What do you think was going to happen when he went missing?
Son. I don't know how you could be mad at her. Son. Even if you didn't do anything to her son, you shouldn't be mad. That's her son. She should be able to be there.
Yeah, like, oh, well, the ex-wife is in the house, so obviously I can't go home.
Yeah, that's...
What?
Ridiculous.
No. No, I'm so glad she got caught, but oh my god, she's
idiotic at this point.
And yeah, she strikes me as a profoundly nasty person. I think she was abusing all the kids. I don't understand. Like, I looked at a bunch of her Google searches, and I'm like, who Googles stuff like this?
Like what? I don't think I saw that. So like what were a few examples of it?
Find me a rich husband with no kids.
Yeah, I don't know why you would. That seems like a dating site kind of like filter, not like a Google search.
Or oh, do you think my mom, do you think my husband's ex-wife will send me a Valentine's Day card because I'm raising her kids?
Okay, yeah, those seem very odd. I thought you were going to say something along the lines of like something that people like us search, like true crime people search. And I would be like,
No.
oh, okay, well, I've searched that too, so it's not that weird. But
no.
yeah.
Like, God help any one of us who has their Google search looked at by the police.
Yeah, I feel that one.
That's all I'm going to say about that, because, like, I have years and years and years of just terrifying and upsetting Google searches. And yeah, but hers were just so,
just like odd.
They were so weird. They were odd. And like, she was like, my son is sick. But I have to go to work. Can I leave him home?
Yeah, how old was he? Wasn't he like 11 or something?
He was 11.
Yeah,
he was 11.
You don't leave an 11-year-old home, like, at least for like a long amount of time.
No, but I mean, the way she posted it, like, and I guess she didn't get the answer that she wanted to see, so she asked it like 3 different ways, but they were all like, they were so weird. They were so weird. And yeah, just a whole lot of, find me a rich husband.
Yeah, that's...
My husband cleans up for the army, but not for me.
That's some weird searches.
Are you looking for a meme that says that?
Yeah.
Or like, what are you hoping you're gonna find with that? You're just typing sentences, weird sentences into Google. She's so weird.
Yeah, I haven't looked into her too much, but just like going over the case once, it was kind of like you have to suspect her at some point, because she was the last person with Gannon, and she came up with an excuse for all the blood around the house immediately. And that's just...
Yeah.
Like, I understand a bloody nose because I get them like crazy, but I've never had a bloody nose that goes through the carpet and into the concrete.
And stains the concrete.
I've never had that.
And splatters all over the wall. I mean, that doesn't sound like a nosebleed, so...
No, not at all.
Yeah, what got me that was weird was that she initially said that he went off to play with friend, but she didn't know who the friend was.
Yeah, he's 11.
He's 11, and she kept him home from school, right? But then she let him go out and play, and also she dragged him around town all day.
That's the thing. Like, I'm only 21 right now, but when I was 11 in like the end of elementary school or whatever, like, my parents would not let me go hang out with someone if I was sick that day. They said, if you're sick, you're staying home the whole day. And if you're sick, like, we're staying home the whole day. We're not going out and dragging you out. That's how things work.
I'm 38. I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
My oldest daughter is 10. And they could stay home from school. They're not playing. They're not playing video games. They're not going out with their friends. Nothing like that is happening. And I'm not leaving the house unless I have no
they're recovering. And you're staying there to make them recover. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't take a sick kid around that's had diarrhea all night.
That would be like terrifying.
Put him in the car and drive around for hours. For 4 hours, you're gonna put him in the car and drive around. man, you must hate your car. And then she said she was going to take him to the doctor, and she never took him to the doctor.
Yeah, that's not okay.
None of it made any sense. So
No, it really did not. And the fact that she said he like walked to a friend's house and then the neighbor's camera didn't see that at all. They only saw her driving away with him and then coming back without him. That just proved it to me like right away. I was like, something is going on here. Like,
is that a bunny?
yeah.
Sorry, I got distracted.
Yeah, no, I have 2 cats and a bunny, so she comes in and out as she pleases.
That's amazing. Yeah, but that's it. Like, when the neighbor looked at the footage, he was like, well, Gannon left. I didn't see him come back, and he definitely didn't leave.
Like walking, yeah.
Out the front, but they saw the sister. They saw the sister going around, but the sister didn't see Gannon either. But the first thing that's hinky, you don't like kid that stayed. He's sick enough that he stayed home from school. You're not dragging him all around town all day to do random stuff and buy dog
Yeah, not to
coats.
Petco or PetSmart or whatever. That's just crazy.
No. And you didn't have to do it because you thought you were going to be going to work. So that's not stuff that you needed to do that day, right? Like, you didn't have an appointment. You didn't have to go and do any of this. A normal parent would stay home with the sick kid. And also, he would not be going anywhere to play.
Yeah. Even when, like, I'm sick, I sit in bed all day. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah. I'm not going to go shopping. I'm not going to go to work or anything I have to do. It's, for an 11-year-old kid to go do that kind of stuff just seems a little insane. There's no reason.
No, people don't act like that. Like, I've seen a bunch of the other people that are into this are parents. And when you see them, they're like, I wouldn't let my kid, and this is an Army family. Like, I wouldn't let my kid go out when they've been home from school all day and sick. That was and honestly, that's probably the first thing the cops were like, I don't know, this sounds kind of
sketchy, yeah.
Hinky. Sounds kind of sketchy here. And then she just continued being weird.
Yeah. She never, like, evened out. Like, she wasn't nervous at first, and then she was fine. It was just, like, nervous continually.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she's an actual narcissist and never thought it was going to come back and get her, because that's how that is how some people can behave. She's nibbling on feet,
She's
isn't
nibbling
she?
on my pants. She likes to put holes in clothes very easily.
Smart.
Yeah.
But yeah, I those 2 cases, I've been following them, and they're big. They didn't start out big, but they blew up because they are just so weird. They're just so weird.
And that's kind of amazed me that like we've had the Casey Anthony case before and other cases like that, but then the Lori Vallow case, the Gannon Stauch case, and the Evelyn Boswell case all blew up at once. And it was kind of like, just you had to get a lot of information at once and try and follow these cases.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there are other big cases that were going on, but a bunch of them were solved pretty quickly. Like the tote case down in Florida, where the dad killed everybody and left him in the house to
was around.
He even killed the dog.
Yeah, I heard that one. And they people hadn't heard from them in a long time, and then they were like, well, what's going on? And that's crazy to me too, but at least they found the person who did it.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a week between when the family started posting about it and when it was solved.
Yeah.
And then even then, the family was just kind of posting on Facebook, like, hey, we haven't found him. Can you get the word out? Has anybody seen him? And then, the the cops went in for a welfare check, and the dad tried to OD on Benadryl, and they found him right away because the whole family was smelling.
Yeah, because decomposition happens.
You live in Florida,
Yeah.
and you have multiple dead bodies upstairs, and you're just hanging around, living in the house.
That's disgusting and really disturbing overall. Yeah. Like, we visit people in Florida all the time, and they're down in Naples once again. But, like, you come in from outside, and it's awful. Even inside. It's just so warm. I don't know how you could deal with dead bodies in a house for that long.
Yeah, I lived in Melbourne for a year. And bugs get everywhere. And bugs love dead bodies.
Yep.
There had to be so many bugs in that house.
Yeah, I can't eat. We have a gnat problem right now, and it's like 3 gnats, and I can't deal with it. Like, it grosses me out. So being in a house with like flies and maggots and all that, no. Nope.
Nope. I don't know. And they haven't really put out a lot of actual information about that case.
No, they haven't. I remember seeing the initial report and sharing something about it, but after that, I've only seen like one report about it.
Yeah, same. And there just hasn't been a lot of information, and I don't know. Maybe it's because they're preparing for trial.
Yeah, they could be. They could be trying to hide some of it, at least.
I live in New Jersey. There are bugs. There are bugs. I would not want to be anywhere near a dead body at any point, but especially not in a place where it's hot. No, just no. No.
That's why I like the cold weather.
I like the warm weather. I just don't want to be by. I don't want to be by bugs, and if I don't have to, like nice bugs are okay.
Like, I don't.
I like bees.
Yeah, or like butterflies or something that's not just gross or awful. Yeah, I get that.
Like wasps. Wasps are jerks.
Yeah, we get those quite a bit. On our living room windows, we don't have screens for some reason. And just whatever wants to just flies in, and then we have to chase it back out. And that's normally wasps, which is awful.
That sounds very Dutch. In the Netherlands, people don't have screens on their windows either.
I don't know how people live like that, like forever. I can do it for like an hour.
Some people put like fake screens over top of it, but generally the houses don't have screens on the windows. And yes, the bugs come in, and no, it's not fun. Although they don't have as many bugs as we do. Somehow. I don't know how that works. We have similar climates, but they have way less bugs.
Well, that would be nice.
Yeah. They have more mosquitoes, though.
Well, I don't get bothered by mosquitoes, which everyone always hates me for that. They say my family says I have sour blood, and they're like,
"Oh, they don't go after you.
They don't bug me. They'll land on me, but they never bite me for some reason."
Yeah, the Dutch word for mosquito is perfect. It's
I feel that.
That is the sound you make when you see a mosquito.
Absolutely.
What, Zoe? My dog is giving me a dirty look.
She wants you to give her attention now.
No, she just kind of woke up because I was speaking in Dutch. She's bilingual.
Oh, okay. That's cool. My pets don't even know their names.
My dog is old. Oh. She's like 16 now.
My dad still has my childhood cat that's 19 now. Aww. But she's doing pretty good. All my pets are very young. Like the bunny right here is 2, I think. I don't know. We rescued her when she was older, but
That's adorable. I love the
Me too.
rescuing. My dog is also a rescue. We've always had rescue dogs. So I've had her since she was a year old. And they said if we didn't adopt her that they were going to have her put to sleep, like the next day. So I was like, I guess I got a dog.
My animals are always the bunny and one of my cats I found on Facebook, and their whole thing was, well, we're going to send them to the Humane Society if no one wants to take them tonight. But both of those times, the Humane Society was so overpacked. Like, if anyone new came in, they were going to have to be put to sleep. So I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, I'll take as many animals as possible.
Yeah, that's horrifying. Yeah, I could not forgive myself if I dropped an animal off and they were put to sleep immediately.
I couldn't forgive myself if I dropped an animal off at all, honestly. And like, I'm not being mean to people who do it, because I know there's certain situations where they need to, but personally, I would not be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, mine were all rescues. I fostered 2 dogs, and then we adopted 2, and my other dog passed away a while ago. But we've had her for all this time. She's moved continents with us, and you know, I said, because my girls are like, we want a puppy. I was like, good luck, because you're not getting one, because I'm gonna need some time after her, because we've had her like, forever, and she's like my first and furriest child, and my heart's not going to be able to take it. With another animal right away. I'm gonna need a break.
I'm always worried about my dad, because this cat has been with him for 19 years now, I guess. And every day I'm sitting there like, I hope she's okay. I hope she's still all right. Because as soon as she passes away, like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do in that situation.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's, and that's it. And my girls are worried that she's going to pass away because she's old, and they're 8 and 10. So anytime like she's a little crickety or gets up slow or anything. Also, my dog's not very smart, and she a couple weeks ago, before we all got locked in our houses for 2 months, she got into a fight with one of the neighborhood dogs. My daughter, we're on our way to the bus stop. She opened the door, and the dog got out as I was trying to put the leash on her. And one of the neighborhood dogs was being walked behind her house, and it was not a nice dog. And it was like 5 times her size. And my dog ran up to it and was trying to have an attitude, and she got bit right in her face.
Oh no.
And got away, but she was bleeding like all over the place, and my daughter had like a heart attack.
Yeah, I would probably too.
So upset. So, like, they're really worried that something's going to happen to her, and she's depressed because all the kids that usually come over here are not here.
Yeah, it's hard for even the animals.
She, for the first like 2 weeks, she sat at the top of the stairs and like wandered around the house looking for the extra people, like wandered around looking. She was looking at all the rooms trying to find, hey, where's this kid or that kid? Because I have at least 6 kids in my house. And now I have 2, just the ones that are normally here with us. But, when you're used to having 6+ kids in the house every day, and then all of a sudden they're not there, like, and I can't explain to the dog. Dog doesn't understand.
Yeah, no. My pets are just kind of mad that we're home all the time. Because normally I'm home at least like 50% of the day. And then my boyfriend's only home like when he sleeps, basically. But the pets have seemed kind of pissed off that we're here all the time. But
yeah, it's just it. Everybody's all discombobulated, and I think it's been rough on everybody. And then, yeah, like I said, I usually do all this stuff when the kids and the husband are not here, so that I have a lot of time.
Yeah.
And now they never leave.
Yeah. Same for me.
And yeah, they never leave, and that's fine. I'm glad that they're in the house. I'd rather that they're being isolated, but now I'm like, all right, so now I gotta do my stuff later in the evening, because I'm trying to like school them and clean up the house and do a bunch of other stuff during the day. And then I got accepted as an intern to learn forensic genealogy.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
So that's been really crazy interesting, but it's very time consuming, and there's a lot to learn. And so that's been taking up a lot of time, which is fine.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not allowed to say a lot. No, I'm really not, and I'm not going to say a lot. But I'll say that one of the ways that you learn is by like starting to do stuff, and so there's a lot of research involved, and it's very, very it's grindy research. Yeah. It's okay. Now I'm gonna pull up 5,000newspaper.com articles and read through every one of them. So, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you at least got that opportunity to do the internship.
It's really good. It gives me another data point to look at presently, and that's I'm learning the other part of it, but I don't really understand it all that much yet, but I'll get there eventually, I'm sure. It's a lot at once. I've literally only been doing it days. But it gives another data point to look at. So it's very interesting, and I think there's a lot of opportunity. Just like looking at it from the inside, I think there's a huge amount of opportunity out there, especially because so many people are going to do that work for free because they just want to help. I think that the more people that get trained on how to do it, and the more people understand it, I think that's one reason why we're seeing all these cases get solved all of a sudden. And I'm completely thrilled about that. I every time they come out with a new case that's solved, I'm just like,
the I think it was Lime County or whatever, Jane Doe. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that one I was really excited about because I know I've looked into that case so often. And just to see even one of the cases solved that I've looked at, it's very gratifying in some way.
Yeah, that's I run the trans cold cases site on Facebook, and I'm also part of the Trans No Task Force, which tries to identify cases where the people are gender variant. They may not. They may be trans, they may have chromosomal differences, they may have presented as one thing and been another thing. There's a whole spectrum, but as far as I understand it, this is not, I'm not involved in any of that, and that's not even part of the same group that we're part of, but I do know that it's been going for forensic genealogy, and last I heard they were getting really, really close, and I'm so excited about them having a potential match for Julie down in Florida. That case, I've been following it for years, and I'm so completely thrilled that, and I mean, they haven't had the DNA on her that long because they couldn't get a good sample from her remains for the longest time. So when they finally did, that was late last year, I want to say, that they finally got a good sample from her. And I think, listen, I think a couple of months after like 20 something years, I think a couple of months is amazing. And she was found in 1987.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
You know, I was 6 years old when she was found, and to have even the possibility of finding out her identity within a couple of months, that's crazy.
It seems like things are moving a lot faster. Like, just with the new technology coming up in the last few months, it just keeps going.
Yeah. And hey, I hope that it keeps doing that. People were talking even 10, 15 years ago, people were talking about using the commercial DNA tests to help solve Jane Doe's, and they said if we got access to those databases, we would solve so many of these cases. And they're not even talking about criminal cases. They're just talking about, you know, people who are found and are unidentified, and they want to get them home. You know, and they're right. And I think that if the companies had opened up a bit more, I think that would be sped up even more. What is happening? All of a sudden, my phone is buzzing at me. But yeah, I'm super duper excited about it. I'm looking forward to being literally any kind of a help. Even ruling people out is helpful, because then you know who they're not.
Yeah, that's always helpful.
You know, and being able to directly help cases in a different way is interesting and fun and scary, and you know, you don't want to mess up. You want to do with everything. You want to do a good job. You want to do these people justice.
Yeah, that's the main goal of like most people who investigate these cases.
Exactly. And you know, there's a learning curve. There's a learning curve with
absolutely.
this. So like, even if you're just getting started and you're trying to figure out what exactly, because there's so many things that you can do within.
Like, I just started discovering half of the stuff that I can figure out cases through and all that.
Yeah, and I mean, my best suggestion is to look at the people that are doing it already and seeing what they're doing right and maybe what they're doing wrong, if they talk about it. Web Sleuth, the unidentified section, is really good for learning about that stuff, and also for getting sources.
Okay.
So if you don't know where the databases are, somebody on Web Sleuth will probably link to it at some point.
I'm going to have to use that, because I look at Reddit a lot, but Web Sleuth doesn't pop up in my like Google search. It's like one of the higher ones. So I'm going to have to go on there more.
Yeah. The unidentified section is much smaller. It's not very gossipy. The people that are posting on there are pretty focused. I can't really speak to the other parts of the site all that much. But the unidentified section, usually you don't get people in there that are just, gossiping or whatever.
And that's what I like. I like the facts or the actual research into stuff.
And yeah, and you will get a lot of posts in the unidentified thing that goes, oh, I hope this person is found soon, or hey, I'm bumping this. But, most of the time when they're posting about something, it's because they have an idea about it, or they found something, or they're like, hey, has anybody heard about it?
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I found that was a very decent way of finding out how people go and look for things, because back when I was looking for my uncle, I looked, okay, so where are these people looking for this information? They go to Doe Network, they go to the Charlie Project, now they go to NamUs. But there were other sites back in the day that existed then too. And occasionally you find a really old one on some zombie tripod site.
Okay.
I have found a couple of zombie missing person tripod sites. Tripod was really big in the early 2000s, late 90s. Free websites. So the cases that are on there might still be active, might not. You got to kind of look. But you'll find a lot of posts about people looking for their family members. And they can't be updated anymore. They're zombies. They're abandoned. They should have gone offline almost 20 years ago. But they're still up somehow.
Yeah, that'd be interesting for me to look into. But I did just get a notification that says this is going to cut off in a few minutes. So I should probably let you go. But thank you so much for talking to me for 2 hours, because I learned a lot about NamUs and all the other things that you do. And I would love to talk to you again at some point.
Oh, that's awesome. And seriously, if you have any cases, or you need help with anything, or you need more information on something, where to look something up, if you shoot me a message or you tag me or something, then I will come in and I will just shoot it over to you, because I have a lot of stuff at my fingertips, right? Like, I already know where it is, so you don't have to spend the, week that it takes figuring out where this is, because I'm like, oh, hey, it's over there. And that's just a product of being around too long.
Yeah, I might have to do that then. So don't be concerned if you get a few messages from me.
Oh, I'm never concerned. You can send me any case, any message, and I will do as much as I can to help you out.
Well, thank you for coming on to the GetVokl thing with me and figuring it out with me.
Absolutely no problem. Thank you. This thing is very cool. Come here, Wolf. Come here. Come here. You want to say hi?
Oh,
this is my baby.
Right? So cute.
You tired? She's my little sweetheart, right? You're going to yawn? Yep. You're very sweet. Okay, go lay down. You over there, not on my mouse. Okay.
Okay.
She likes doing that, but thank you so much.
I hope we get to talk again on here, and I will definitely talk to you on Twitter more.
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, bye. Have a good night.
All right, have a good night. All right, bye-bye. Let's see.